I'd like to thank the program director, the Department of Transport, SAMSA. It's amazing to be here. Thank you for the opportunity to give us space to voice out and to share our experiences. Where do I start? Well, my name is Nkita, secondary name Nonkolelo. I am from a small town in Durban, Eastern Cape. I was born and bred there. I know we don't have an ocean in water, so. Maritime, I researched. I always knew I wanted to do engineering at some point. So I went from civil, and then I thought, okay, no, not civil. Then I wanted mechanical, and then at some point I wanted chemistry, and then over the internet I found marine engineering. I was like, okay, well, it says you get to travel. It's still engineering, so it's still within what I like. And well, you get paid, and we get paid in US dollars. I was like, okay, sounds like a dream. So I opted for that, and I applied, and I got accepted at CBT in Cape Town. So I went to do my studies there. And remember, I was from a normal high school in Constant, which we didn't do engineering work. So when I arrived at university, it was a whole new world. I stumbled a lot trying to balance the engineering subjects because I had no knowledge of it. They're speaking about injectors. I mean, I've never seen a car injector. I've never seen a pump. So I had to use YouTube a lot to reference, and so I can at least get an idea. If they're asking about an engine part, then at least I have an idea what it looks like or what I'm studying. So after I completed S1 and S2 in CBT, back then, if you didn't have a company or a bursary, they wouldn't allow you to continue and do S3 and S4, which means to complete the program if you didn't have a sponsor. And the reason for that was they said with engineers, people struggled a lot. When you went to do S3 and S4, it required experience for you to pass. So I wasn't able to do S3 and S4. And it took me, I think, almost 3 years before I could get a birthing company for me to actually start my cadetship or my training. When I just finished, there was a program, SAMSA was running a program, a cadetship program. So when I was about to join, there were difficulties with funding and all of that, so we couldn't continue. So I spent time trying to apply, and it's even more difficult trying to get sponsorship because I'm a woman or a lady. I remember in class, we were a class of 65 learners, and we were only 4 females in the entire class. So it's widely male-dominated. Ever since I started sailing, I've never seen any female in the engine room. I'm always the only female in the engine room throughout. So eventually, after that 3 years, I received a cadetship or sponsorship through Saini. So I did my cadetship there. My first contract going to sea. So there's this girl from El who's never seen a big ship, goes there and then we're thrown right at the deep end. When I arrived at the engine room, I don't know if I were to say I was confused, but I was overwhelmed. More importantly, I was overwhelmed. Here are these big engines and these big pumps, and it's foreign nationals. I am the only South African on the ship. And everything was just big. Everything was on a big scale. I got confused for a whole 2 weeks there trying to find my way from the cabin to the engine room. It was like a maze. It was like a maze. And the engine room itself was massive. So trying to move from the control room to maybe the pump room, I always had to ask somebody to accompany me because it was a mission trying to find it. Also, it was foreign nationals. The first contract they did, the engine room crew was all Filipinos. And they don't cater for you. If you don't speak their language, they don't. They spoke in morning meetings, like every morning, we would have a toolbox talk. They call it the toolbox talk. That's why you have your morning meeting, you discuss what work you need to do for the day, and then they allocate, obviously, the work, the different work, who's going to do what, with who, and so on. In the toolbox talk, for the whole 4 months I was there, they spoke their language. So you don't understand what they're saying, what they're discussing. And they're not going to translate to you in English. And eventually, when the work is being done, they converse in their own language. And if you're lucky enough that they want to invite you close so that you can see or learn, otherwise they'll send you off to the double bottoms or the tank tops. So you have the engine room, and then underneath you have like the pipe works, that's like the tank top. So we've got all the different pipes there and all the different systems and everything is there. There it's always oily and dirty, and that's where you find the cadets. So they'll send you there to clean or to mop or to paint while they do the important work there. So during that contract, I was on day work duty. So I was working from 8 to 5. So in the evening, when everybody's asleep, you would find me in the engine room. I had to find manuals. I had to learn how the different things work. So if today I decide, or this week I decide, okay, this week I'm doing fuel system. So that whole week, I'm sleeping at 4 a.m. in the morning. So the whole night I'm there, I have the manual, or I have the systems, I have to find which valve is going from this tank to where, how is the fuel circulated, and that's how I learned throughout that contract. Because nobody cared, and because I'm a woman, nobody expects me to hold a spanner. So when you're there, they're like, no, you're a woman. You belong in the kitchen, you should be at home. You shouldn't be here. This is not the environment for you. So they will try and do basically everything possible to crush you. And I thought to myself, you know what? I struggled a lot to get here, and it took me 3 years to even get the opportunity to be here. So I'm not about to let somebody else, just because they have the power, to think that they can actually kick out me and it's gonna work. So I learned, and this one time, the chief changed me, and I was on the third engineer's watch. So the third was given work to do, and he wasn't able to do it. And that week, I had been studying the purifier like nobody's business. So we attended it with him, and I kept quiet, because all they do is they send me for spanners and rags and whatever else that they need, but you're not going to be given a chance of a day to do anything, because they believe I can't handle it. So I was like, okay, it's fine. So we did it, and I just stood there next to him. He gave it his best shot, and it didn't work out. He's like, okay, it's fine. So end of the day, we all knock off. In the evening, I came back down. I'm like, okay, today it's do or die. I'm gonna open this thing. I'm gonna try and figure out what is wrong, and then I'm gonna let it, and I'm gonna run it and see. If it doesn't run well, then that's the end of my cadetship. If it does, then good for me. So I took the manuals. I sat there, I laid them all up on the tank tops, and then I picked up all the points I needed to pick up. And then I got my spanners. I opened it, overhauled it. Nobody's there, the chief doesn't know. Nobody knows, and I knew if anything goes wrong, then I'm really in trouble. So I opened it up, got the spares, changed it, and then I put it back together. And now I stood there. Now I stood there in front of the purifier. I'm like, yo, okay, now I need to test run it. Yo, is it gonna start? So I paced around the engine room. I paced around for like a good 30 minutes. It was very hard for me to press that start button. Because if I press it and I've done anything wrong, then how am I even going to explain opening something without nobody knowing? So I came back, okay, I'm going to press the button. I couldn't press the button. I was like, okay, you know what? Yeah, it's now or never. I pressed the button. It started, and I screamed. I was just now running, screaming, running, and in the engine room just running. I was so excited. Like that was the most exciting day of my life throughout that contract. So it started like, oh, okay. Then I switched it off. Then I packed all the manuals. I put them back together. I cleaned any evidence. Then I cleaned it. Then in the morning meeting now, the chief was on the third case. I can't understand what they're saying. But I know he's furious, he's mad because this thing has been standing there for a week and it couldn't run. So during the meeting, he's like, okay, Chief, can I please go show you something? He's like, no, I don't have time for cadets. I'm busy. He's like, no, Chief, I think you want to see this one. So we went with him. So he's like, so, also another thing, that the language at sea, it's very vulgar. They don't care about you, but if you're soft-hearted, trust me, you'll cry every day. So I was like, I don't have time for this. Okay. Then he was swearing. He was swearing his language. I was like, okay, he went with me. So I was like, please start it, Chief. He's like, no, this thing doesn't work. The third engineer's been working on it. You know, you've been like, Chief, can you please start it? So he pressed the start button. It started, and everybody looked at me. And then he's like, what did you do? And I said, well, I followed the manual. I think that's from that day whereby I got any sort of respect or recognition in that engineering. To this day, I'm still in contact with the chief engineer. We are literally friends at this point. And from then onwards, they would then show me things. If they felt they needed to show me, they would take me around, they would show me, and even if it's after hours, that second engineer would call me. They used to call me Zima for some reason. I don't know, I think it was easy for them, but they used to call me Zima. So he'd call my cabin, Zima, what you doing? I'm like, well, just trying to busy on my record book. It's like, okay, come, I want to show you something. Then maybe he'd show me how to do a fuel pump or how to test one. So it got easier as time goes by. So what I'm trying to say is, as a woman in the engine room, you have to work 10 times, like literally 10 times for people to believe in you. The minute you step in or you step on board and they know that you're the female, then they think you're useless. You just there and you're useless and you know nothing. So it really is a lot, but I told myself it wasn't going to get me down. I told myself, in fact, I went through hell for it, and I was going to stick through it, like right through the end. Also, being away from home was another issue. And back then, the only day we had, there was Wi-Fi on board, and then we were only given 100 megabytes. That's for the whole month. and trust me, with that 100 megabytes, you can't go on Facebook, that data would only allow you WhatsApp. And with WhatsApp, you can't even send a picture, you can't view people's statuses. You could only write a message with that 100 megabytes. I mean, today, 100 megabytes is nothing. Even then, you had to save it. You just had to send a text maybe once in 2 days. Just send a text home that, guys, I'm still alive, I'm okay. Nothing's happened to me, just know I'm okay. But you can't spend time online chatting. So it was a lot. So after that cadetship, I did a couple of trips. Then I finished, because the required training is 15 months. All they've reduced it now to 12 months at sea. And when I say 12 months, don't think you're like going there, it's 12 months straight. You'll probably do 3 months, and then you stay at home for maybe another 2-3 months again before you join again. So it's a long process, but my second contract after that, it was easier, because I think the first one was hard enough. And so I felt after that I could actually take on anything. So currently, I'm sailing as a third engineer with SAMSA MSP in Cape Town. And it's been an amazing journey, I must say, it has been. And because I'm a woman, even though I'm a third engineer, they know I'm not a first time. I'm not sailing for the first time. But every single time when you join a vessel, and everybody knows that whoever's coming is a female officer, then when you get there, there's already an attitude. When you arrive, they already think, oh, it's a female, you know? So it still happens, and I think it's something that maybe the industry still needs to work on. It's probably a bit difficult because they're not used to working with women. Like I said, I am always the only female, and even on the ship I'm on now, I'm the only female in the engine room. And every single time, you'll always be doubted up until they give you work or they allocate work to you that they think is difficult. And then when you're able to do it, then it's like you earn their respect. So I still don't understand why you have to constantly prove yourself. If I was able to sail from a cadet to a third engineer, I think that should give me enough credit. So it's still things that need to be dealt with, or things that, it's small things, but then it's small things that actually count. And when you are there, if you think that you are going to be crying every night, or if somebody says something cruel or rude to you, if you're gonna break down, then that's just what they want. Because if you break down, then you're a softie, you don't belong there. It's not your thing, you shouldn't be there. I like to teach, I like to share my knowledge of what I've learned in the industry. So I'm always excited when there's a newly qualified junior officer. It doesn't matter the journey. Well, there's never any other female that joins. But when there's a junior on board, I show them, well, teach them everything that I know, because that wasn't afforded to me. So I think we're at a point where we can actually change. I think we're at a point where we really need to make a 360 and change how things are done, because all those people that feel they need to humiliate people at sea, or that they feel they need to look down at people, or just because you're a junior then you're not good enough, is because most of the time they were abused or they were treated badly then. And now they still feel, because they had that experience, then they still need to impart that on other people, of which we're not in that era anymore. It's the 21st century. Like we are way past that now, and it's time for things to change. I remember this one time, I was also still a cadet then, this second engineer, And funny enough, he was South African. So the second engineer, we had problems with washing machines, because on board we have washing machines for boiler suits and for clean clothes, like your normal clothes. And the reason for that is, as engineers, our bodies have oil, and the oil is dirty, so we can't wash them in the same washing machine. So that week, that washing machine was not working. So the boiler suits one. So we had to hand wash our overalls. So everybody on board was hand washing the overalls. So now the second engineer comes and says, now the cadets have to hand wash all the overalls for all the engine room crew, from the chief to right down to the oiler. So I went up to him, because at that time he felt he was superior, and when he joined, even though, like I said, it was me and him who were South Africans in that engine room, but the way he was ill-treating me, it was like he was a foreign show. So he wasn't talking to me, I don't know why. If he had any instructions that he needed to give to me, he would write them on the whiteboard in the control room. He would never say them to me, or if I'm there and there's somebody else there, he would rather relay the info to you and then say, you must tell me what he says. But I'm right there. No, he wouldn't speak to me. So he wrote that on the board, and okay, this guy. So he expects me to hand wash everybody's sweat, because all we do is sweat in the evening. I thought about it, like, no, this can't be me. So I went up to his cabin. So I went there and I knocked. And I said, second, excuse me, respectively, I saw your message on the board. Is that for me? Then he says, yes, you're a cadet, aren't you? I said, yes, I understand I'm a cadet, but do you expect me to wash everybody's overalls? He says, yes, you're a cadet. You must wash your overalls. We did back then when we were cadets as well. And I said, second, I think that's the first mistake. This is not back then. And respectively, I refuse to wash overalls. The chief engineer is washing his overalls and he's superior than me. And I believe you can wash your overalls as well. So I said, oh, now you're back chatting. Now you think that you're the lady of the house. I said, no, but I said with respect. Then I left, and chief engineer's cabin was right opposite. When I left there, I went to chief engineer's cabin. I said, chief, before you hear it from somebody else, I refused second engineer's request to wash the overalls. So if you feel you're on his side, then I am reporting myself. So he said, no, you're not going to do that. You are not going to do that. You're not a slave here. You're here to learn. And that's all you're going to do. Learn. You're not going to be somebody's slave. So up until that second engineer signed off, he wasn't even, if I walk in a room, he would walk out. That entire contract, and I had my record book. We have a training record book. So when you join a ship as a cadet, you have to fill that in. It has got work or training sections and topics that you need to be trained on. So every officer needs to, in fact not every officer, that the second engineer and the chief need to sign that. So he never signed my book. He was not interested in teaching up until he left. So what I'm trying to say is, to the learners, ladies, if you go there, just know it's a jungle. Sadly, it's still a jungle. And you just have to know why you're there, and you have to speak up for yourself. There will be a lot of people that you'll meet. Some will be nice, and the nice ones will be nice. The nice ones will be really nice, and they will teach you. But then the rude ones will be really rude. To a point whereby you feel, sure, if I could just pack my bags and go home. That's how it gets. So you just have to speak up for yourself. be determined, and know what you want or know what your goal is. Currently, I'm studying as well. I'm also studying. I want to get my second engineer's license, and by God's grace, I will get it. I'm going all the way to Chiefs. So, thank you. I think I've said so much. I think I went over the time limit, but I hope it inspires someone. I hope somebody takes something from my experience, and hopefully the industry changes. Thank you.